What happens when you mix a creepy, button-eyed doll aesthetic with one of the most complex stories in mobile gaming? You get Identity V. More than a simple story of hunters and survivors, it's a tale of how a mobile game grew from its dark gothic roots into a narratively rich multiplayer world that has captivated millions. Today, we're putting the puzzle pieces together on this button-eyed asym. My perspective on this game has evolved significantly since I first started playing. This isn't my first attempt at a video on Identity V. While I still stand by most of what I said in my first video, this is a more refined take on the game. Here I want to correct some mistakes that I made in my first video and offer a more experienced perspective. After my first week, I was intrigued, but after countless hours decoding ciphers and launching survivors, I'm back to offer a more complete picture of what makes this game tick. So without further ado, let's go into the manor. Before we dive into anything else, if you want a game that you can just throw on your phone and enjoy matches when you have free time, this is it. Though I prefer the PC port, the controls for mobile are pretty clean and it runs well. Honestly, I even prefer the gameplay over Dead by Daylight, which is saying something because of how many hours I have in Dead by Daylight. Your journey in Identity V starts as a detective, led to the ominous Olitas Manor by a letter asking you to find a missing girl. To figure out what happened, you have to relive past games that took place at the manor, playing as both the hunted and the hunter. Every match is a case restoration, just one fragment of a much bigger, darker puzzle. At its core, Identity V is a tense game of high-stakes hide-and-seek. In the main 4 vs 1 matches, 4 survivors must decode 5 cipher machines to power 2 exit gates and escape. All the while, a single powerful hunter tries to catch them, strap them to a rocket chair, and send them flying out of the game. I know it sounds very familiar to another asym titan we all know, but stick with me on this one. Adding another layer of strategy is the Persona Web, a talent tree where you spend points earned from playing to customize your abilities. Both survivors and hunters have their own webs, allowing you to build towards powerful final talents that define your playstyle. If you're familiar with Dead by Daylight, you can think of this as a kind of perk system that you don't need to assign to slots on each character. For example, survivors can choose Tide Turner to guarantee a safe rescue from a rocket chair, while hunters might pick Detention to gain a one-hit down attack once the exit gates are powered. Dead by Daylight players might know these as the perks Borrowed Time and Noed, but if you unlock them in the Persona Web, they're just abilities that you get across all characters. There are no perk slots. This system lets you tailor your loadout for different strategies, and since you can reset it for free, it encourages endless experimentation. Beyond the main 4 vs 1 mode, Identity V is packed with other ways to play. There's Duo Hunters, which is a chaotic 2v8 mode, Tarot, which are 2 teams of 4 protecting their designated king, Blackjack, a survival mode with unique rules, and even fun limited time modes like Frenzy Rhapsody, a fast-paced dodgeball game, and Hide and Seek, which is basically prop hunt. If you want variety, Identity V has it in spades. The creation of Identity V is almost as interesting as its lore. Released in 2018 by NetEase, the game's origins are closely tied to the hit horror game Dead by Daylight. NetEase consulted with Behavior Interactive, the studio behind Dead by Daylight, who gave their blessing for NetEase to build upon their asymmetrical gameplay formula.
Behavior Digital.
Alex Lin, the product manager for Dead by Daylight.
We want to tell you that before Identity V was released, we gave our consent to NetEase to use some of the gameplay mechanics that you might recognize from our game in theirs.
While both games are 1v4 games where survivors complete objectives to escape a killer, their paths diverge significantly. The most obvious difference is the art style. Departing from gritty realism, Identity V embraced a stunning gothic aesthetic, heavily inspired by the works of Tim Burton. Everything from the button-eyed characters to the gloomy Victorian maps feels pulled from a dark fairy tale. This made the horror more accessible, shifting the focus from pure terror to an atmosphere of mystery and tragedy. The gameplay itself also has key differences. In Dead by Daylight, all survivors are fundamentally the same, with their abilities coming from a shared pool of perks. In Identity V, every character has unique abilities tied to them from the start, meaning a hunter can often identify a survivor's role just by their appearance. This creates a more strategic, less random environment. The pace is also much faster, with objectives often being completed more quickly. Even core mechanics differ, where Dead by Daylight has a grab to catch survivors during actions, Identity V has a terror shock. a powerful hit that immediately incapacitates a survivor while they're vaulting, rescuing, or decoding. These distinct choices give Identity V a unique soul. One of my commenters put it perfectly: Dead by Daylight balances its game by restricting its players into doing what behavior wants. Identity V balances its game by giving players a ton of tools and letting them find what's fun. For the Hunter, Identity V is a game of map control and mind games. The objective is to catch all 4 survivors by strapping them to rocket chairs and sending them out of the game. Hunters themselves are already very diverse, but they can also bring one of several traits, like a teleport or a reveal, which acts as a chosen mini power to customize their strategy. For those coming from Dead by Daylight, the approach to camping and tunneling will feel different. Identity V takes a unique stance, where some hunter abilities are designated to excel at staying near a shared survivor. This is a deliberate design choice. The game is balanced around this, with survivor classes having specific tools and abilities designed to counter a camping hunter and make the save. Identity V doesn't slap your hand for camping and tunneling, it embraces it as a strategy and gives the other side fair tools to use against it. For survivors, it's about stealth and teamwork. 4 survivors must decode 5 cipher machines to power 2 exit gates and escape. It sounds very familiar, but this is where Identity V really sets itself apart. From the start, every character has unique abilities tied directly to their backstory, a feature that distinguished it from other games in the genre. The gardener can break rocket chairs, reflecting her tragic family history, while the doctor can heal herself. Survivors fall into different roles: decoders, kiters, and rescuers, each vital for a balanced team. Teamwork is also made incredibly smooth, with one of the best in-game communication systems that I've seen for an asym, allowing you to send quick, detailed messages about your status, your intentions, and your strategy without needing voice chat. On top of that, the game's tutorial is honestly a 10 out of 10, especially compared to Dead by Daylight's quote-unquote tutorial. It teaches you the basics, as well as genuine strategies like how to rescue teammates from chairs and when to save powerful abilities. As Hunter, it teaches you how to interrupt rescue attempts and the strategy behind it, and it teaches you how to save valuable team-wide heals for the right time as Survivor. It even rewards you with a free character of your choice at the end, giving you a little more to play with in the beginning. Identity V is fantastic for making all characters available to unlock with in-game currency, but it does take time. You can expect to play around 10 to 15 hours to unlock a new Survivor, and 15 to 20 hours for a new Hunter, so it's wise to prioritize what you want. On the other hand, the cosmetic system is where you need to be careful. While cosmetics are a huge and expressive part of the game, the monetization strategy can be predatory. Many of the most desirable skins are locked behind gacha mechanics, which are essentially randomized loot boxes. The prices can be steep, and the system is designed to encourage repeated spending. Some of the fanciest, most exclusive skins reside in a system called the Penrose Maze, which can cost up to $500 to guarantee a specific item. A good amount of these high-tier skins are also limited, meaning once their event is over, they may never return. This creates a powerful sense of urgency and can be a real pitfall for your wallet if you're not careful. It isn't a deal breaker for the core gameplay, but it's certainly something to be aware of before you get invested. While Identity V might initially look like another multiplayer horror game, under the surface, there's a deep, tangled mystery. The main question is deceptively simple, though the answer is incredibly complex. What happened at Elitist Manor? And who are these button-eyed people trapped in a never-ending game of cat and mouse? The story unfolds as a mosaic of diary entries, character quests, letters, and huge story updates rather than a single straight line, often leaving you with more questions than answers. The first game involves a core group: the gardener, the doctor, the lawyer, and the thief. We quickly learn their backstories are all tangled together in a web of betrayal and revenge. This leads into the current major storyline, Ashes of Memory, which functions almost like an interactive story mode. We play as journalist Alistair Ross, who grew up in the manor, to learn about its cursed history. For me, the biggest hook in the game is the characters. These are more than just avatars, they're broken people haunted by their pasts. The investment is deepened through tons of personalization. You can get pets to follow you around, and even get and decorate your own room. Finally, the game is known for its extremely popular crossovers, bringing in characters from beloved series like Persona 5, The Promised Neverland, Detective Conan, and even Sanrio. From its Burton-esque style to its place as a giant in mobile gaming, Identity V is a tale of incredible and distinct design. It built upon the asymmetrical horror formula to create something more. By weaving tragic backstories into unique gameplay, NetEase created a world where playing the game is uncovering the story. However, for some players, the mobile-first design, with its sometimes choppy graphics and unique control scheme, can be a hurdle. While there is a pretty good PC port with smoother performance, the controls can take some getting used to. That's perfectly okay if it's not your thing. But for those who stick with it, the game gives you a deep mystery and a community to solve it with. It becomes a living puzzle box, and with every match, we're getting closer to the horrifying truth at its center. But that's just my take on the Manor's history. Now I want to hear from you. Which character's story pulls you in the most, and why? What about the gameplay keeps you coming back? Did you used to play Dead by Daylight and move to Identity 5? I want to hear your stories and your theories, either in the comments below or in my new Discord server. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the Manor.